Hi guys, welcome to the Dragon's Cave. My name's Karen. I've got a new mould. Really can't wait to try this one out. It's obviously a turtle. It's actually quite small. I don't know if you can tell by my hands. Trying a new camera holder today to see if I can get a better angle than I've had in some of my previous videos. So I've just been on holiday and I brought back with me, thanks to my daughter doing some hunting on the beach, a load of little shells, some big ones as well, but I've got loads of shells and a very small amount of sand, but it'll be enough for what I want to do with this. So what I'm going to do, I've already mixed up my resin. I mixed up 30 grams of part A and 15 grams of part B of the Resin Pro Eye Crystal, and I want to put clear resin with some shells into the actual shell of the turtle. Then I'm going to cover the back with a mix of resin and sand. I think, if you can see in there, because the head goes at a different angle, kind of points upwards, I'm going to mix up a tiny bit of sand with some resin and pop that in the head before I start the body, because I want obviously the head to be full of sand. Never used this mould before. It's a new one I got from Temu, so I'm just going to give that a go. I'll start with just my spoon. Here we go. And get this in the camera. Okay, so just a spoonful of sand should be plenty for the head. Just gonna enough resin to, let's put that out the way while I do this. Just a small amount of resin just to wet the sand through. So obviously I'm going to have to do this in two parts because I'll need to wait for the clear resin with the shells in to set before I can put the sand backing on it. I've put too much resin in here, but it'll be fine. It'll all work out. I think maybe the camera's a little bit too close to the worktop. Trial and error, hey? Promise over the next few videos I'll get it right. Just going to start with that little bit. Give it a squish in case I don't want any air bubbles trapped in there. I don't think the head is particularly detailed anyway, so it's quite difficult to tell. Just put a little more in and then lay the mould down and see how close to the edge that is. I'm going to have a little bit running back into the body, so I'm going to let that settle for a second, wipe off the excess and then get the sand in there. Where are my cotton buds? Here we go. Yep. I don't think you can actually see this part. I don't really want to move the mould in case it encourages even more to run out. Still trickling. I think we're nearly there. Just give it a second and see what happens there. Just clean this away while it's settling. The angle I'm at, you can probably see better than I can. Okay. Don't mind if there's a little bit of sand in with the shells, but I don't really want it to be too obvious. Okay, I think that's about as good as we're going to get. So now to choose the shells. Just pop a few in to start with and see. There we go. Some pretty little ones here. Probably should have put some resin in there first, and I'll just do that now. Otherwise I'm going to end up with way more air bubbles than I actually want. Not that I want any, but there we go. This is a micro brush. I've just taken the little fluffy end off it, just to use it to poke things down and burst the bubbles. You see, this is my problem. I'm far too impatient, and I do end up. What I should have done is fill the head, let that settle before I started putting the clear resin and shells in. Not the end of the world. If it turns out not as good as I'd like, then I'll always make another one. I like that some of these shells are actually broken and have holes in, because it means they're not going to trap any bubbles, hopefully. I've got quite a few in. Problem is, the higher that the clear resin gets, the more the sand is going to run in from the head. Different colours in as well. Good job I remember to put my gloves on, because I'm already getting it on my hands. Got a lot of very pretty shells in here, but I don't want to overdo it too much. And most of them are very small. So yeah, I can see a few little bubbles rising there. Okay. Don't want to put too many in, so I'm going to back it with the sand as well. So if this ends up taking longer than I think, then I'll try and fast forward through and then just show you when this part is finished and when we come back for the next part. I might have to scrape some of that sand out of there, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll settle okay. I'm hoping that the noise outside isn't too bad today. I'm surprised how much traffic is out there actually. It's Easter Saturday today. I'll try and get this video out in the next couple of days. Yeah, just one or two more I think, and we'll call it. This is actually just a souvenir from the holiday for myself. So it's, if I make a mess, it's not too bad. If it turns out really pretty, then I'll be very, very happy. And I'll probably make some more. Another thing I should have done is decided on the colours of shells and things before I put the resin in, because I don't know what colour I've got in here now, and I'm not going to know until I demould. Okay, just one or two more on this side I think. It's actually a little stone, which looks bizarrely like corn. That's pretty. Okay, I think we're about there. So I'll keep an eye on it, pop any bubbles that rise up, and see you for the next layer. Bye. Hi guys, I'm back. I did end up popping a couple more shells in, and the leftover sand and resin mix I used for the head, I just popped a little into the front flippers. Excuse me, runny nose. Just going to mix up a bit of sand and resin now for the next layer. Don't really know how much to use, but because as usual I didn't measure the mould, the capacity of the mould. I'll just do a little at a time and see what happens. Need to make sure the sand is all mixed in. I don't want any dry lumps in there. Resin's been warming, so it's reasonably bubble free. Okay, we'll start with that and see how we get on. You need to make sure it gets right down into the head. Can't really squeeze it too much because it'll end up loosening what I've already put into the mould. So I'm going to need a little more. I mixed up far more resin than I was going to need. I did, what did I do? 50 grams of part A and 25 part B, because the resin I use is a 2-to-1 ratio. It's the Resin Pro Eye Crystal. Yeah, I need quite a bit more, I think. I don't know if you can see the bubbles rising and that, so I'll just give it a quick squirt of, this is just isopropyl alcohol. 96% is the strongest I can get here. I'm just going to do this in little stages just in case. Don't want to end up with too much left over. Don't mind if there's a little bit. But I don't really have anything on standby, but I want to put sand in. Plenty of moulds to use up the other resin, leftover resin, but this is a little thicker, which is nice. Okay, let's just pop this in. Hope you can see. Looks like. See the where I put a little too much resin in the sand and the resin is actually separating, which as long as I cover all the flippers won't matter too much, because if it's clear resin on the bottom, where if it does separate, then that will just make it easier to sand or trim if it needs it. Oops. So it's currently Easter Sunday here. Well, everywhere I would imagine. Means there's slightly less traffic outside the house than usual, so I hope it's not going to be too much of a distraction. Unfortunately, there's not an awful lot I can do about traffic. I can't exactly ask them to close the road just because I'm filming a YouTube video, and there isn't anywhere else that I could safely do resin. The only other option I would have is the dining table, and as I'm sure a lot of you know, doing resin in your living space is not the greatest thing in the world because of the fumes. Plus, I'd end up with far more cat hair in everything than I already do. Okay. Need to mix up a little bit more, but I won't bore you with that since you've already seen it twice. And I'll come back for the demold. See you later. Hi, back for the demold. This is my favorite, absolute favorite part of doing resin. Let's start at the back. Been on the heat mat for a few hours, it should be okay. Maybe a little bit soft, but I do like these soft molds. That's so easy to demold compared to the harder ones. A little bit worried about getting his head out in one piece, but the first layer should have been completely set. A little air bubble here. I did think I might have because I couldn't squeeze. Okay. Oh, he's lovely. Shells show beautifully well. Not brilliant because he got too much reflection from the lights here, but he is absolutely gorgeous. Now, just going to do a little bit of a tidy up, trim these little overpoured bits over, and I'll paint his eyes on. And I'll get back with pictures at the end. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you liked the turtle. Bye.